for those of you that are watching the replay, I was listening to the song Try Everything from the movie Zootopia, I believe, by Shakira. Make sure that you listen to that song while you're watching me dance like a ridiculous human, because Facebook will inevitably cut off that song by the time you are listening to the replay. But I discovered that song 4 or 5 years ago. It's a song that's on every single yearly playlist that I create because the words are like so perfect. Have you ever noticed that children's movies and children's songs seem to have like the best lessons inside of them? And that song talks about how birds don't just fly, they fall down and they get up. And I want to learn everything, I want to try everything, and I want to try even if I know I'm going to fail. And I think that has been one of the biggest lessons for me inside of this entrepreneurial pursuit, is that there is no success without failure, right? And failure is really only what you decide it to be. And I have people that ask me all the time, like, Lori, what is the secret to your success? And I always kind of say, you know what, the simple fact that I show up through all of it, right? The simple fact that I keep going, that I put one step in front of the other. And I think what has cushioned that failure for me is that I go into every single experience expecting to have a certain level of failure, expecting to not call it failure anymore, to call it learning and call it development and call it growth and call it expansion. And if I was to sit here and run a masterclass on the number of times that I failed and what I've learned through those failures, you guys, this is actually probably number 7 on my list of my points and the things that I'm pulling through from 2021 to 2022. I could fill up hours of your time with what I have learned through failure. And so maybe I'll just actually start with number 7. It's funny because my list, I had been devising this list for the last week or so. And for those of you that are in the Vision workshop, you know that the last 2 weeks have been really going deep diving into 2021 and pulling everything that we want from there and then doing a couple different rituals to celebrate those moments and to release those moments. And so as I'm taking my clients through these things, I'm actually going through this process together, which is what I believe makes the Vision workshop one of the most powerful ones that I run, is that I am right there with you, right? In real time, exploring, learning, growing with you. And so one of those lessons, and I had this vision of I would create this perfect order and it would make sense. And then this morning I was like, nope, whatever order they came out on my paper is the order that they are meant to come out inside this training. And it's funny because you'd be surprised at how very little notes that I create to show up in a training like this. But I trust that the inspiration will flow through me as I show up, as I talk, as I respond to your comments. So I want to invite you to comment back on this masterclass. And I want to invite you also to share this masterclass. If you are on Instagram and you love it, please tag me over there. Let the rest of the world know. I think we are so much stronger together. And when we share our message and we share messages and learning that we're doing, you never know the impact that will have. So I invite you to share worldwide, my friends. But that number 7 point that just seems to so eloquently have come up through Shakira and her Try Everything is fail forward. And what I mean is that by failing forward is just take steps forward. Know that failure is never the end result. It's never the period in your sentence, because it's what you do after that. It's when you get back up, you're never starting at ground zero. And I think that's been one of the biggest lessons for me, is that I think I used to think of failure as the end of the story, the time to start something new, the time to try something new. But the only reason it's just to start something new is because sometimes we don't like sitting in that vulnerable place of failure, right? Sometimes we don't like the uncomfortableness of oh, that didn't go exactly how I planned. And so we're like, you know what, I'll just scrap that altogether. I will tell myself I'm not good at that. I'll tell myself this isn't the thing for me. I'll tell myself that doesn't work. But the truth is, very few things work on your first time, and things take time to grow, right? So fail forward. Know that failure is an inevitable piece. And the growth is an inevitable byproduct of failure, right? And that sitting in the uncomfortable is where we grow, where we get better, where we learn to show up the next time a little bit better. So that's your number 7. And so now it's number 1. And I have 7 points for you today. And what I'm really excited about today too is finally revealing my 2022 programs. Some of them you've probably heard a little bit about. I have a brand new mastermind that I'm going to be running for network marketers that I'm going to tell you about. And what I kind of just want to have this open discussion about, everything that I'm taking from 2021, what I'm going to be bringing to 2022. And I hope that from this conversation, from this training, that you can have that spark lit up inside of you too. I hope that it will inspire you to dig deeper for yourself, to ask yourself where maybe you have failed along the lines, or what maybe you have learned in 2021, and what you're going to do in 2022 to have the best year yet. And I know it's a cliche, and I know we say it every single year, but what if every single year that we start, it really is the best year yet? What if that's what we show up for? What if that's the energy and what we decide? Because it can be, right? It's just that decision that you make today. And it's so interesting, all of the conversations that I'm surrounded with right now, because I know we're in a shit time right now. And I'm feeling it too. Yesterday, I had one of those days where I was just like, this sucks. Right? This sucks. But you know what? Then I woke up this morning and I was like, okay, this sucks, Lori, but what are you going to take from this? And what are you going to do with it? Right? So yeah, our big present to the boys for Christmas was Leaf tickets to 2 different games in Ottawa, which is, I think, 4 or 5 hours, Wayne said, from us. I am geographically challenged, you guys. So we had rented a good hotel room. I was really, really excited. And this last 6 months or 7 months for me has been themed experience, where I'm not letting go of any experience. I'm really trying to have more experiences with the boys over things. And so this Christmas gift felt really, really aligned with that vision and what we were desiring as a family. So we've been looking forward. Wayne and I have been looking forward to it behind the scenes. And so when the one game was postponed, not canceled, because canceled would mean they'd have to give us our money back, postponed 5 hours away, we had to make some really hard decisions. And then this morning we put our tickets up for sale, and inevitably we're going to lose a lot of money and all the things. But at the end of the day, I was like, okay, you can sit in it and you can sulk in it, or you can figure out another plan. And that's the same thing for our businesses, right? So you have a bad day, you have a bad week, you have a bad month. It's not about the bad experience that you just had. It's about what you do next, what you tell yourself in those moments, what you pull from those moments, and the next step that you take. Because the next step that you take is the title of the next chapter. And it could be the end, or it could be the beginning. And so maybe if we start looking at things as not happening to us, but happening for us, maybe that gets to put us back in the driver's seat, right? And yeah, Melissa says, I've had a lot of those moments this year. And Melissa's a travel agent, so I feel that for her, right? But I also said to her this morning inside the vision workshop, maybe there's something, maybe there's a silver lining in all of this. And I think sometimes, I know me, I can get really caught up in what it means doesn't get to happen. But what if it frees us up for something else? What if the next best opportunity, the thing that changes our life, is right there? And all we have to do is take one step forward and it will reveal itself. And Melissa said, I'm not sure what that decision is, but what I want you guys to all know in this moment, in this here and now, is that every single one of you knows what the next step is. You may not know what the whole picture is. You may not know what the end result is, but you absolutely know what that next step is. And if 2021 has taught me anything, and I think this is probably the biggest gift for me that this entire year has brought, because I've done a lot of spiritual work this year, a lot of personal development. I thought this year was going to be about strategy, and it really, really wasn't. In fact, one of the biggest lessons that I had this year was from an investment that really didn't pay off. But is that I have everything I need inside of me, that my intuition gets to lead, that I get to listen to myself. And I used to be the kind of person that, like, if I had a goal in mind, that I would map that goal out, that I would know step 1 through step 10 or step 23 or step 83 before I was ready to take that first step. And what I've realized is that sometimes step 3 through 73, they're never going to reveal themselves until you take step 1 and take step 2. And it's almost like if you picture yourself standing in the woods and it's really dark night and there's only a sliver of light that's ahead of you. And incidentally, this is like none of the stuff that I was meaning to talk about today, but like whatever, we always go with it, right? If you're standing in those dark woods and like you're covered in trees and you can only see by like the sliver of the moon coming through the trees, you can only see a couple steps ahead of you. Are you gonna stand still, or are you going to take those 2 steps to get the hell out of those dark woods? You're going to take those 2 steps. And when you do take those 2 steps, all of a sudden, the next 2 steps are revealed because the moon is moving with you. The moon is supporting that journey out of the woods. The end result, where you want to go. The same thing is happening in life and is happening in business, right? We have to be willing to take those couple steps in order for the entire path to be revealed. But so many of us get stuck up on the plan. And what I learned was like how to invest in order to get that support that I needed, and what didn't make sense for me and all those things. But, oh man, when you take those couple steps and all of a sudden things start to get clearer, sometimes you're going to find like that 6 steps reveal themselves, and you got to be willing to take those 6 steps, even if it feels uncomfortable and fucking scary, right? Okay. Would you actually like to hear my points, right? So number 1, actually we decided number 1 was fail forward. So number 2, have a plan and stick with it longer than you think. Okay, so I used to have a plan, try out the plan, and then be like, well, that didn't work. That didn't have instantaneous results. And I would pull back and revise my plan. What I realized is that sometimes things, oftentimes the things, whatever word you want to use, are not instantaneous. Sometimes you actually have to keep going even when it seems like it's not working. And I do believe that there's power in like readjusting as you go, taking what is working, moving forward with the rest, and like revising and like reshaping. And like, let's look at it from like a social media perspective, right? I have worked on my social media strategy for the last year. What I'm doing today is not even close to what I was doing this time last year. And finally it's starting to take root, and finally it's starting to reveal itself in what is working and what isn't working. And it's just so interesting. But if I only tried things for 1 week or 1 month, I would never see the results that come if you keep going. One of the biggest problems for entrepreneurs is that they aren't willing to see things through. That if they do not get that immediate gratification, that immediate validation, whether that's a like on a post, whether that's a comment on a post, whether that's someone saying yes, whether that's the pat on the back, whatever it is, if you aren't getting that immediate gratification, if you are out, then how badly did you ever want the thing in the first place, right? How badly did you think, like how rooted in the strategy were you actually in the first place? You have to be willing to keep going, even when it seems like it isn't working. Even when it seems like it isn't working, even when you're not necessarily getting all of the validation or exactly the results that you anticipated. That means that you are good, like that means that you care, right? That means that you are trusting in the process. And I'm not saying that you need to do something for 3 years with no results. You are allowed to revise. You're allowed to like come back to the table and figure things out, and that's actually one of the second piece of that puzzle is like readjust as you go, right? Take what's working, leave the rest, but keep going. Don't let outside validation be the thing that stops you in your tracks. Don't let somebody else's evaluation of what you're doing be the thing that is your roadblock. We get so caught up on like what other people are saying and thinking, right? And we overthink the crap out of that to the point where we actually paralyze ourselves half of the time. Or maybe that's just me, but if you were just to let that go, and if you were just to do your things in that bubble of trust, in that bubble of knowing that, you know what, eventually this is all going to click, and eventually everything that I'm learning and everything that I'm trying and the way that I'm showing up day after day, that is all going to work eventually. So, number 3, systems will set you free and allow you to scale. So by systems, this could be anything inside of your business, but if I have learned anything, it's to find systems that make things easy. And one of the biggest pieces of that puzzle is once you find those systems and once you grow to your business to the point where you're ready to outsource support, all of a sudden you can hand those systems off to somebody else. Right? You can hand those systems off because they're already a well-run machine. One of the things that I have always found extremely valuable in my journey is knowing how to do all of the pieces inside my business. There's very little that happens in my business that I don't know how to do. I'm not doing them all, but I know how to do them so that I'm not, kind of at somebody else's mercy. But I'm one creating these systems. And these systems can look very, very different. And it doesn't matter if you're in the beginning of your journey or you're in the middle or you're like exploding. Systems are always going to support you. Systems could be something as simple as on Sundays we plan and 5 posts a day inside of your Facebook group, or 1 valuable post on Instagram a day, and then here's how I play my stories out. That could be your system. Having a system around your bookkeeping, that could be your system. Having an email series that goes out, having a group, like everything that you do inside of your business, systems create ease. They create clarity too and confidence in what you're doing. And that's one of those biggest pieces of the puzzle for me, is that anytime I'm feeling a little bit out of control, anytime that I'm feeling a little bit overwhelmed, it likely means that I need to look closer at what I'm doing, break down the result that I want to get out of it, and create a system around it. It's as simple as when we very first started the runway, we weren't sending out a weekly email, and every single week I would know what's going on, but the members wouldn't necessarily know what's going on. So I had to ask myself, okay, what's the easiest way to create a system around this? So we created an email that has exactly the same template every single week that Joe actually inputs all the stuff for me, and I create a welcome message. We created templates for the cover image, and we created a guides unit. All these things are on repeat inside of this container because they create ease inside of sharing information. So any single time that you're feeling overwhelmed or you're feeling like you're being pulled in a million directions, ask yourself, is there a little bit of heavy lifting that I can do right now that will create ease later? A lot of the time for me, when I'm feeling overwhelmed, it's likely because I'm trying to half-ass something, right? I'm only partly paying attention and I'm not fully integrating myself into it. And I see this a lot inside of my world because I have a lot of stuff going on, you guys. You maybe haven't noticed yet, but like I have a couple different memberships and I have courses, and people often tell me like I'm feeling really, really overwhelmed. But that is more than often because they haven't really taken the tour around. If you're also new to my world, you may not know yet that I am OCD organized. And so every single one of my groups by intention is set up exactly the same way. Every single one of my groups, if you go into the guides, you'll find everything that you need, all the things, right? When we do things over and over and over again the same way, we create this ease inside of our lives. And any single time, and when you create this ease, you're going to see room for improvement, because improvement, you're going to need to improve things when you feel friction, when you feel resistance. When you feel friction, resistance, overwhelm, like you're banging your head against a wall, it's likely because you need to take a step back and figure out what you can implement to create more ease. Okay? Number 4, this is a big one, and this is one that's going to be hit with a little bit of a resistance from you, I know. Invest in your growth. And I mean this both from a financial perspective and a time perspective. And you guys, I remember the very first time, because I had this conversation, I did a post, was it yesterday or the day before, where it said, if you could invest $2,000 to make $100,000, would you do it? And the easy answer to that is, of course I would. But the majority of people and the thoughts that are running through our heads when we read a post like that, like how angry did that make some people when they read that post? And I knew that it would make people angry when I put it out there. I knew that it wasn't And I knew some people would resonate with it because they've already done this work. But my initial response to that a few years ago would have been like, but you can't guarantee those results. Or but I don't just have $2,000 sitting in my bank account. And like, absolutely. But at the end of the day, what do you think is your best investment ever? I believe that the best investment that you can ever make financially and from a time perspective is in yourself. You are the only thing. And you guys, my husband would not agree with me. My husband would be like, the stock market, Lori. My husband is obsessed with the stock market. We do a lot of investing, but like when there is extra money, I'm investing in me because I believe that I am the biggest financial resource in this entire family. And you might be sitting there thinking, but Lori, you run like a multi-six-figure business. Of course you have money. Yeah, I haven't always. Right? And no, money isn't just pouring out of like my bank account right now. I have responsibilities as well, big ones, and a team and all these things. And I'm not yet where I desire to be financially either, but I continue to invest so that I continue to grow. And so I'll never forget, and I talked about this in a post, I'll never forget a couple years ago. And I told this story a few times where I was making $0 in my coaching business, but I knew it was something that I desire, but I also knew that it was time to make a decision. I knew that it was time to either do it or not do it. And I was talking to a coach that I was considering investing in, and she just said, listen, do you want to dig to China with a spoon or with what are those things called? You know what I mean? And I was like, obviously you want to do it with the big heavy machinery, right? And she's like, and that's what a coach does, right? Like, yes, you can get wherever you want to go. And this isn't just a ploy to be like, hey, come invest in me or whatever. But at the end of the day, I want you to believe in yourself enough that you are willing to invest in your future. You are willing to invest in the growth that you need to get yourself to the next level. And I don't think that that's necessarily about the money. I think a lot of the time we can shift things around. We can find the money if we desire to. It's fear-based. The reason that we do it is fear-based because we can't guarantee those results. But you can. Right? I know where I am today. I know where I desire to go, and I know I will get there. I don't know whether it's going to be 6 months. I don't know whether it's going to be 6 years before I get there, but I have zero doubt that I will get where I desire to go, and I have trust in that. And the other piece of that puzzle is the time factor, right? You have bulldozer. Thank you, Ernie. We need a bulldozer. Do you want to dig to China with a spoon or a bulldozer? I'm choosing the bulldozer. Or maybe we should talk about like building the foundation for a house. Would you rather dig out the foundation for a house with a spoon or a bulldozer? Which one? Because that feels like really, really relevant, right? Because what we're doing when we invest in these things is building a foundation for the businesses that we're going to build on top of that foundation. And so do you want to do that with a spoon or a bulldozer? So anyways, the other aspect to that is not just financial, it's time. I would love to sit here and tell you that like I built my multi-six-figure business in 30 minutes a day. I would love to tell you that I built my network marketing business in like 25 minutes a day in the cracks of my day. But the truth is, if you desire to be paid like you are running a business, you've got to show up and treat it like a business. And that takes that requires an investment of your time and your energy. And if you're not willing to invest that time, even in free trainings like this or things that you can get elsewhere, like you can find a lot of free training out there that you can invest your time in and take action. Don't just listen to the training. When you're done the training, ask yourself what comes next. What is that one step that moves me closer to getting out of these woods, right? Okay. And that one actually leads me perfectly into number 5. And this one is really, really relevant for me and something that I have really, really heavily learned this year is manage your own energy so that you're not in and out. And for me, it wasn't really that I was in and out. It was manage your own energy so that you're not depleted and energized, depleted and energized, depleted and energized. My coach calls that the sprint and puke method. And that was how I ran my network marketing business for years. Like, where it looked like shiny success on the outside. It looked like I was earning all the trips. I was earning all the accolades. My income was quadrupling in a year. Like it was all looked beautiful. Behind the scenes, I was freaking exhausted. I was riddled in migraines, which I mean, I still get migraines because I have personal issues anyways. But when I manage my own energy, it allows me to take care of myself first. And when I take care of myself first, my business is naturally taken care of. But the other piece of this puzzle, and the thing that I think will be relevant for so many that listen to this training, is when you manage your energy, you don't need to be in and out. You don't need to be stop and go. It's the stop and the go. It's the in and the out that will crush your business, right? It will crush any kind of momentum that you're building because you're all in and then you're like, oh, and you're like nowhere to be found. What if you could just stay consistently in with your energy? And for me, that looks like listening to my body, listening to my intuition, and building out my business around that rather than building my life around my business. I want to build my business around my life rather than my life around my business. And that's what I want to see my clients do too. But make no bones about it, you're going to have an investment of time and energy inside of your business in order to build a business. And I think we need to be prepared for that. And I also think that there's going to be different seasons in our life and seasons inside of our businesses. And this was like a big one for me. I had the word surrender and the word leap for my 2021. That was the word that those were the words that I chose at the very beginning of the year. Surrender for me really felt like listening to myself, like listening to my intuition, surrendering to those higher things, to knowing, like to listening, to trusting myself, all those things. And I think surrender is something that I really did do this year. Leap, I don't know. Not really. Like definitely wasn't as big of a leap this year on paper as I thought there would be on paper. But there were some significant pivots this year that changed everything for me. And so what I decided to call my year in review was create. Because this year I created and I created and I created and I created and I kept on creating. And I created based on my intuition and based on my energy and based on my intuition and like listening to all of you and working with you, my clients, and being like, this is what they need and I'm going to create it on a whim. And it was fast and it was furious and it was like full of energy and magic. And at the end of the year, after 1 year, I created brand new programs, flagship programs that will probably be inside of my business container for years. I created over 10 courses that can now be sold on my website that are now part of an all access program called Extraordinary Women that I'll talk about in a couple minutes. Holy moly, did I create. And you know what? That's not what 2022 looks like for me. That's not the season that 2022 is going to bring. In 2022, I'm refining, I'm being more intentional, and I'm upping my leadership level. Because I can, because I created that base, right? I was running in 2021, and in 2022, I feel like my shoulders are stronger. I just feel like it's that next stage. And so in 2022, what did I decide my word was? Love. Because I'm going to do everything that I love. And what's interesting is even this masterclass came with that notion. So the way I was going to roll this out originally was I was going to drop a different training for you in email, in these groups, pre-recorded every day for 7 days as we counted down 2021. I was like, that's it. That feels really fun. And then I started to do it and I was like hitting that resistance. And I was like, this doesn't feel good. And part of the reason that didn't feel good was I was trying to do it during the week at my cottage where I really desired to be with my family. And so I was like, oh. And the reason I decided to do it is I saw other couple coaches do it and I thought it looked like a lot of fun in their world. And then I was like, Lori, I woke up at 4 a.m. and I was kind of having one of those panic attack moments because I knew that what I was doing didn't feel aligned with what I desired. And I was like, but what do you desire to do, Lori? And I was like, I love these master classes where I bring everybody together live or in a replay, where I get to just talk with you and at you a little bit. And so I did that. It didn't require very much work last week, so I got to be really, really present with my family. I believe that it put my energy in the right place, and it really connected. And it was done with love, because what do I love doing? I love doing live masterclasses, right? I love doing things like this. And I wanted to find a way to both launch with a big bang with fireworks, my brand new programs for 2022. And this felt like a really fun way to do that. But it was based on love, because it was based on something that I love doing. And it was pivoting from something that strategically felt like it would have worked. And maybe it would have worked. But I think things always work better when they are aligned with your energy, when they feel good when you're creating them. And you will know that. If you start listening to yourself, you will know that. You'll wake up at 4 a.m. with those panic attacks that are like, Lori, this is not the right way, when you start listening to your intuition, right? And thank you, Leanne. Leanne says, I love listening, watching you live. And I think that I love being live so much that but I started thinking to myself, maybe that strategy is old news. Maybe that strategy is 2021. But you know what? A, we're still in 2021. And B, if I still love doing it, then there is still a place for it in my business, which is actually, it's like I couldn't have scripted this better for myself. Number 6 is have fun. Do what you love, right? Don't tell yourself that someone else's strategy is better than yours because they're having success with it. The strategy that you're always going to have the most success with is the one that you have fun doing, the one that lights you up, the one that you love, or the 6 that you love, the things that you feel fun. I cannot remember which masterclass or which workshop that was in last year. So maybe one of you guys knows, where the button on it said follow the fun. But this is one of the biggest business tips that I can ever share with you. And this one was really driven home last week when I made this power pivot inside of how to deliver this content to you, was follow the fun. Because when you are having fun, you will do more of that thing, and you will show up with an energy that is palpable, that will attract people to you. Attraction marketing is big, is real. And when we are doing something just for the sake of doing things because we feel like we should, that's not the energy that we want to show up on, nor is that the energy that will work. It may work for someone else if they love what they're doing. So ask yourself, if you're ever feeling that feeling inside your business where you're right? I don't even want to do it. I want to hide under my covers. Ask yourself, why is that? Get really, really honest and real with yourself, and ask yourself, what am I doing in my business right now that is causing this level of friction and resistance? And how can I bring more fun into it? I think I've shared this example before, but I had in one of my Stella conferences, we were having this conversation with one of the bigger leaders, and she had been considering quitting that year. And so our chief marketing officer had said to her, okay, I want you to make a list of the things that you're doing on a daily basis. And so she did. And then she said to her, okay, I want you to circle the things on that list that you love doing. And there wasn't a single damn thing on that list that she loved doing. They were all things that she felt strategically she should do as a network marketing leader. Right. And at that time, I believe it was before COVID, but at that time she had seen a lot of people starting to build online. And so she felt like she should really do that. But she was really lit up by being in person and doing pop-up shops and using fundraisers to grow her business. And she didn't have room and space inside of her business anymore for that, because she was so focused on building this online business because everyone else was doing it. And it felt like a really big should. But also it didn't make her want to get out of bed in the morning. It didn't make her excited to go out there and do it. Time collapses around us, and we move quicker and things move quicker when we are following the fun, when we are doing things that light us up. I created a brand new one-on-one program last week, the week before, I can't remember. I'll tell you more about it in 2022. I actually really only have 2 spaces open for it right now, so it's not something I'm really talking about. But if it feels like you're like, Lori, tell me more, I need to work one-on-one with you, send me a message, because this is a container like no one else is doing. But I created it one night, laying on my couch, watching Netflix, knowing that I wanted that in 2022, I desired to create more one-on-one programs, but I wasn't forcing it. And all of a sudden the idea dropped and I was like, yep. And you want to know something? I had massive resistance in 2021 around, a massive resistance around creating a one-on-one program, because I told myself it had to have this, this, and this, and this, and this. They were things I didn't want to do. those three things. But I had this thing in my head. I was like, if you ever want to make real money, you got to do it this way. And then I realized, no, I don't. I can do things whatever way I want. Whatever way makes me want to jump out of bed, tell you all about it, and get really, really excited about it. Because there will be my ideal clients out there that are like, yep, I want to work with her. I want to do exactly what she's putting out there, right? So my one-on-one program is going to change. Like, it's different than any other coach that I know out there that is offering this type of coaching, because it fits with me and my energy, and holy smokes am I excited about it. But that idea, that came to me in 15 minutes. I wasn't sitting at my desk, I wasn't glued, and will probably make me thousands and thousands of dollars in 2022. I don't know, just guessing. But those are the things that we run with, right? The things that we're like, oh, this is so much fun. I love doing this. I want to do more of it. That's what makes you money in business. Because you want to do more of it, because it fits with you. I hate doing lives. I feel like an imposter. So on that one, what I would ask yourself, sometimes we have to ask ourselves, why do I feel this way? Is it a limiting belief that is holding me back? Or is it truly that I don't desire to do this? There's two pieces of that coin, right? In the very beginning, there were pieces of the one-on-one where I was just like, oh, it feels too vulnerable for me. I feel too like exposed. Like I'm solely responsible for my client's success. And I had to get over that hurdle and over that bump. And so it wasn't that I didn't desire to do one-on-one coaching. It was that A, I was terrified, and B, I didn't want to do it the way that I saw everyone else doing it. So ask yourself, if you don't want to do, Catherine, if you don't want to do lives, don't do lives. You don't have to do lives. You don't have to do anything that you want to build your business. You can just do things that feel fun for you. You can recreate the wheel, and you can do things that are totally new. Come hang out in the runway, and we have millions of sales trainings in there. In fact, the runway's getting a shake up in 2022 too. Ah, yes. Catherine says, limiting beliefs that I have to be a certain look. My friend, I'm with you. I used to think in order to sell style, in order to do this and that, I've even had moments in my coaching business where I'm like, well, she's clearly more successful than me because she's blonde, she's thin, and people want to work with people that are blonde and thin. And I'm like, I'm not blonde and thin. Maybe this is why I'm not experiencing the level of success. These are just things that are holding us back. These are just things where we don't want to put ourselves out on those ledges because we're afraid of rejection, right? We're all afraid of rejection. If you tell me you're not, then tell me your secret sauce, because 150% I'm afraid of rejection too, right? And every single time that I show up and I do this, it gets a little bit easier, right? And I just trust that the right people will hear my message, the right people will drop into my programs. And Catherine, I want you to know that our size, our look, our whatever doesn't define who we are. You will always call in the people that love you, right? If you show up as you, if you just own who you are. And what's interesting is I do have some female empowerment workshops coming up in 2022. It feels like an area where I feel really called to start coaching in. So I'm excited for that little exploration into a new world for me. Yeah, I love that. Marnie says, if your audience joined your VIP group, then they probably already love, like you, and accept you for you. Yeah, exactly. And you know what? At the end of the day, if there's something that you don't want to do inside your business, you don't have to. Or you can wait until you feel a little bit more comfortable, or you can do it on a small scale and work your way up. It's never all or nothing inside of our businesses. You can take steps. You can take steps. Okay. I talk a lot. Number 7. I'm totally lost because I started with a different number, and you guys know my brain. Multiple streams of income create sustainable wealth. This is something that I have really, really realized this year. And even in my network marketing journey, what I realized, I remember, when I started my network marketing journey, I really realized that like having this full-time job and also having a network marketing business was so incredibly smart. And I could see that opportunity in front of all of the women. I could see why everybody needed that. And then all of a sudden my network marketing business became my sole income. And I forgot that for a little while. And this year I have built, they say that the average millionaire has 7 streams of income. And we're working on that over here in the Irvin household. But like, I also look at multiple streams of income inside of my coaching business. So I have my monthly programs that are people paying on repeat. I have higher end containers. I have courses that can be bought that are passive income. And I also believe in passive income, right? Income where you are not trading time for money is hugely powerful in this day and age. We all need that because we all need to stop deciding on our worth with an hourly rate. So multiple streams of income create sustainable wealth. And even if you're just looking at like taking a deep dive into your network marketing business, it's kind of like I look at having a lot of people doing a very little bit creates really sustainable income inside of your network marketing business. So rather than having a couple heavy hitters or only looking for women that want to run inside of your business, building a team of everybody, right? Because everybody can have impact inside of these businesses. Everybody, whether somebody just wants a discount or just wants to sell $300 a month, it all matters in the bottom line inside of your business, and it all has impact and it all stacks on top of one another. It is so much easier to build a team with like a lot of people doing a very little bit. Plus, if you were to lose one leg of that team, it's not like you would dwindle your entire income. So that's just a little tip. And so for the network marketers, building multiple streams inside of that, I don't mean having multiple network marketing businesses. I actually don't really encourage that, but I do mean creating like that sustainableness inside of your team. And then if you are building a coaching business, or even if you're doing a combination of the two, like it can be done. You could do something like me where you launch a business on top of the success of your network marketing business. Lisa says, yeah, wanting to build a team of like-minded badass peeps. Don't we all? And that's it, you guys. That was all of my 7 points because I started with fail forward. So I want to tell you guys, okay, if you have stuck it out till now, I am going to tell you about 4 different things. Number 1 is my brand new mastermind called Momentum. I am over the moon, giddy with excitement about the name of this mastermind because the word momentum has been sitting in the notes list on my phone for probably a year. I knew there was something that was going to be connected to it. I actually thought it was going to be connected to my manifestation and money courses, but Momentum, the mastermind, just feels like everything that we're building inside of the network marketing world, right? It feels like power. It feels like systems. It feels like everything that you want to build that sustainable, more on top of more business. So it's a brand new mastermind. It is a 4-month container. We are starting near the end of January. I am only accepting 10 individuals into the program. And basically it's going to be taking you on a journey through how I built a multi-6-figure network marketing business. We're going to build those systems inside of your businesses. We are going to build your own personal business up to the point where you feel like a selling machine, but you're doing it with ease. I want to give you more income, more impact, but I also want to give you more time freedom. And like I said in the very beginning of this training, is like those systems really will set you free. So I'm working with women right now inside of the Leader Mastermind, and some of that will be transported into here. It's going to, this is going to be, my vision for this mastermind is that I run it 3 times in 2022, and that it becomes a flagship program. January is the very first run of it. And there's one thing that I'm phasing out inside of my mastermind programs, and that is the one-on-one aspect of it. So you will get group coaching calls, you will get office hours, you will get daily tap-ins via a Voxer. If you guys don't know Voxer, it's very similar to a Facebook Messenger where you can send messages, you can send voice notes, all the things. I do a lot of like really high touch coaching inside of that container. Spoiler alert, my one-on-one container really focuses heavily on Voxer because I absolutely love it. I love to coach and I love to be coached inside of that container. And if there's one thing I've learned, it's that coaching in a way that feels good for you to be coached is a really great strategy. So one thing that I'm phasing out, however, inside of my masterminds is that one-on-one. And so I am not going to phase it out before I give you an opportunity to hop in. Anybody who joins the 2022 Momentum Mastermind before the end of 2021 will get one-on-one coaching included inside of it. I know, kind of a big deal. So if you want to learn more about that, send me a message and we will chat. Again, only 10 women. It's 2. I have 5-month and 12-month payment plans available. I want to make it really accessible. It is for anyone who wants. It's not, you don't have to have a certain size team. You don't have to be selling a certain amount right now. It's more about where you want to go than where you are right now. And I'm looking for the woman who is passionate and driven and energized inside of her business, who knows that this is her time where she wants to build a business, where she desires to have the systems, also have the strategies, and have that support along the way. The second piece you've heard me talk a little bit about is my brand new program that I'm over the moon excited about, which is called Passion to Purpose. It is a mastermind. It went from an 8-week mastermind to a 16-week mastermind last week at exactly the same price because I had a vision. It was probably another 4 a.m. vision, but like either way, I had a vision. And I wanted to include more office hours and more hands-on support along the way. This program is for women that are building a business all their own. So if you have a network marketing business, we can absolutely talk about how to scale that in such a way that it's foundational to building this brand new business, but it isn't for network marketers specifically. This is part of my 2022 plan is to help as many women launch like businesses as possible. Help as many women bring their dreams to reality. So this is a 16-week mastermind. It is in the beta launch, which means that this is the first time I'm ever running it. So it's significantly less than it will be in the future. Right now it's $777 for the entire 16 weeks, which is a little bit insane. But that is until the end of 2021. And then it will hop to 1111. And then in 2022, I'd see that doubling from there. So we'll see. I haven't fully made decisions about where it's going to go in the future because I want to run through it one time. And I am going all in on these 10 women. We've already started one-on-one calls. There's only 5 spaces left for the Passion to Purpose because there's already 5 women on the inside who all have really incredible business ideas. And we've already started some one-on-one calls, and the private Facebook community is going to be opening up next week. And we start the 2nd week of January. So there's that one. Send me a message if you want to talk about that one. Third, if you just feel like, Lori, I want more on top of more. I want all of your courses. I want the live workshops. I want the live masterclasses. I want a full year of integration and growth and energy and excitement. The Extraordinary Women Movement, which is my higher level monthly container, is where you want to be. The second you join, you unlock my entire vault of courses, which I said I was in a creating mood in 2021. So there's over 10 courses in there for you to tap into. And then you will be part of everything that's coming your way in 2022. So there's 2 ways to get in on this. Right now it is, typically it is 1,111 for an entire year because it is 111 per month. So you kind of have those 2 options. You can choose to go monthly if you just want, like you're not quite sure, which is okay. Or if you know you want, then you can save those 2 months. However, until January 2nd, I'm actually going to offer it to you for only $777 for the entire year, which basically means that you get all of 2021 plus all of 2022. Like if that's not a smoking good deal, I don't know what is. But like I said, there's just so much coming. So it used to be 1 workshop a month. knowing that I'm growing in multiple ways inside of this business, inside of my business, expect more in 2022. And it's not a pressure. It's like tap into whatever you want, tap into whatever's calling your name. I've already set the Q1 lineup. So it is Vision, which is our January course, which is already going down right now, but the live portion happens next week. So there's still more than enough time to come in and get in on setting your 2022 up with us. And then there will be Hobby to Business, which I did run live last year, but it is getting a serious upgrade. And then I'm running a program called The Rising. And The Rising is going to be all about self-leadership and female empowerment. And then I have a couple master classes coming your way, which I'm going to be teaching about websites and blogs, and a couple like expert speakers coming in. So you'll get in on all of that action. I cannot tell you all of my secrets. There are exciting things coming up and I can't expose all my secrets. The fourth thing is the Vision Workshop, you guys. If nothing else, this is an absolute must have. I feel like a mattress commercial right now, but like honestly, my vision for the Vision Workshop was just to set everybody off in the right energy for 2022, to just kickstart the year with so much momentum and power that like it drives you forward, that it gets you to take that next step, that it gets that step to become more clear. Next week, we are going to be totally setting things up and then taking action. We're going to create the entire plan, like your power and your boundaries, and it's going to be hugely impactful. I got probably the best response from that one, like that workshop last year out of all of them. Not to say the other ones aren't incredible too, but like I think just that simple, like sometimes we don't take the time to set aside the time to plan and the time to dream, and that can be the defining feature, right? All right, you guys, there's going to be lots more information over the course of the next couple days. I'll drop a couple videos, I'll drop a couple posts. I will celebrate the women that are coming inside of these containers, as I hope you are celebrating yourself. I know that like it can be hard to invest in ourselves, but I also know what's on the other side of that leap of faith. And I also know what I'm going to be bringing to the table inside of these containers and everything that we can do together. So I have full trust that the right 10 women will find their way into momentum, that the next 5 women that sign up for Passion to Purpose, like, are going to be bringing dynamic businesses. And I know that if this isn't your time, that's okay too, that we will find a way to work together in 2022, and timing is everything. Like I've said to many people, there's zero pressure, there's only opportunity, right? I hope you guys have loved today as much as me. I would love to hear all of your takeaways. Thank you for joining me. I love you.